All right. So I am live on Facebook. Hey, sis. Hey, Jess. Yeah. All right. So, like I was saying, every day until May 14th, at least for now, maybe I'll keep it going. Live at 5 with moi. Um, and I won't be long, 15, 20 minutes max. I'm actually going to the gym after this. So, yeah, definitely won't be long. So, join me. And if you are watching this on the replay, thank you. I will be reading the comments. Send me a DM if you want to join in on this conversation in the upcoming days. Let me know and we will set that up. And yeah, so let's get started. Hey, Donetta. All right, so I'm gonna try this. I'm doing two things at one time, so bear with me because I'm gonna keep doing this to make sure I'm giving everybody the attention they deserve. And I want to, if you saw my post, maybe you didn't, but just in case you didn't, we are going to share a video. Um, and today we are going to talk about this TikTok, where is it, that I found. And so, can y'all hear it on Instagram? Can you let me know in the comments if y'all can hear it?
And then chat about it.
When I feel like I was a good mom and did everything I can to show my kids I loved them and
I
be
hope
there
you
for
guys can
them.
hear it.
And why does this
I can hear
generation
it.
of kids just turn their back on their parents? Like, I would never treat my parents the way some of the things have been said to me from my kids. And I don't understand it. And it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. My friends, patients that I see at work, story after story after story after, my daughter doesn't talk to me, my son doesn't talk to me, like just so much entitlement these days. And it's just so flippin' heartbreaking. Like, it was so much easier when the kids were little. Like, I just didn't think that my life would be where it's at 50. I love my kids, but why is it this hard? Where's the respect at for parents and appreciation for all they've done for you your entire life? Like, I don't get it.
The concept of no contact has been going around a lot lately, and so I want to answer this question genuinely as a therapist who sees a lot of clients who have got no contact. I think one of the largest things to recognize as a parent of an adult child is generational differences. So for starters, people who are in their 50s, 60s plus who have adult children grew up in a generation where it was very common for children to be seen, not heard, and respect equated to just acquiescing to whatever your parents kind of wanted. Respect often meant you didn't have boundaries, whereas mental health now is and continues to be a large conversation. Relationships with family members are one of the only relationships in which people are encouraged to make amends with people who have been abusive towards them, who have manipulated them, who consistently cross their boundaries, etc. And as a therapist, what I often hear in these situations is that from the child's perspective, there's been multiple attempts to repair the relationship, to explain the behaviors that are hurtful and harmful, yet the behaviors continue. Or there just isn't the safety or the space to have that discussion in the first place. Another thing is that in terms of gratitude for the parent taking care of them or just, creating them, I think that is often seen to be synonymous with I will have a relationship with you forever. Someone can be grateful for their life, for their parents, for the efforts that have been made, but also decide that a relationship is not for them. And that isn't to take away from the fact that I imagine that it's very hurtful for parents. And at the same time, what also exists is that it's hurtful typically for the child to go no contact as well. But while it's typically hurtful for the child to make that decision, it's also often safer from their perspective to make that decision. I think it's important to come to these conversations with the sense that you are not entitled to a relationship with your child just because you birthed them. It is something that you have to earn and continuously work at. And that goes both ways.
All right, so that was a lot. But we're going to talk about it again very briefly about this because I hear this a lot from parents of adult children. oh, it would be nice if they called me, why don't they talk to me? I don't understand why we don't have a relationship. Or we have one, but I wish I was closer. I wish they would come to me. I wish they would, let me in, any variation of what she just said. And it's interesting to me how her feelings of her children not talking to her, not having relationship with her, in her mind, and I imagine in a lot of parents' minds, their children feel entitled, and that's why they're not. Now, from the child's perspective, a lot of us also feel like our parents treat us like they're entitled to our relationship, regardless of how they treat us. And I want to point that out because she's entitled to her feelings. We're entitled to our feelings. How do we navigate that when both sides feel like the other is acting entitled? Now, she didn't say very clearly entitled to what from the mother's perspective. If I take liberty there, I wonder, does she mean that we feel entitled to be adults, to be individuals, entitled to live our lives without their constant, commentary, without their input? Um, if you were a parent of adult children specifically, and I make that distinction because children who are still dependents, very different, you know, especially if they're still living in your house. But those of us who are adults, living on our own, taking care of ourselves in our careers, maybe even have families of our own, if you relate to what she is saying, and especially that entitled part, is, for this part of the conversation, entitled to what? What do you all feel we're entitled to, or that we are acting entitled? What does that mean to you all that we are acting entitled when we are choosing to go no contact, or to have, no relationship, or maybe even having a relationship, but only coming around, only showing up for, the big family events, the stuff that you might, feel a little guilty about not coming, that you come out of duty. But you don't have a relationship where your adult child is coming to you out of desire. So, share with me if whether you're watching this now or later, and you feel so free. And if you don't want to put this in public forum, DM me. I promise if you give me permission to share it, I won't share your name if you want me to keep it anonymous. But I would love to know, from your perspective, what she meant by that part, that her children feel entitled. I really appreciated that therapist and her take. She was spot on as far as the way that I look at it, and the fact that respecting and honoring our parents has historically meant that they are allowed to disrespect us, but yet they will never call it disrespect. We might call it disrespect, but our parents generally are not going to say, I'm disrespecting you and you should allow it. They're not going to call it that. But if and when we return that same energy and we talk to them in the way that they talk to us, they will always deem it as disrespect. How dare you talk to me like that? I gave you life. I did this for you. I did that for you. And holding above our heads the things that they've done for us growing up, feeding us, giving us a house, making sure we were clothed, making sure we were safe, wherever you are, wherever you land on that spectrum. But most of the time, whatever they did for you, they're holding it over your head and telling you that that's the reason why that you're being disrespectful and you shouldn't disrespect me because I did all these things for you. Now, whether you've ever heard this before or not, a lot of us are like, okay, thank you. But one, I didn't ask you to be here. The responsibility, the consequence of you choosing or whether you had a choice or not. So I understand things were different back then, that a lot of people didn't have a choice. But either way, you brought me into this world, and the consequence of that was you taking care of me, you providing for me, you making sure that I had everything I needed. And now I'm indebted to you for the rest of your life, my life, whatever, because you did those things. Except again, I didn't knock on your womb and say, "Hey, I want to be conceived. Let me out." But again, not to say that we can't be grateful, but it's the idea of this debt, that I owe you this because you did this. I owe you a relationship because you took care of me. Now, we can go down the rabbit hole for all the children, adult children, who can say that their parents still feel like they are owed just for birthing them, but yet did not take care of them, or didn't take care of them their whole life, or didn't take care of them well. Or you can even acknowledge that you took care of me as well as you could have. And yet, which is part of the problem, because even if we are grateful in whatever way we're grateful, we are still not allowed to talk about the ways, the gap between what you did and what I needed and deserved. Because if we talk about that gap from needed and what we got and what we needed, then we're ungrateful. We're blaming them for our lives. We're dishonoring them. It's very reminiscent to my upbringing in church. You don't say nothing about the church. You don't say nothing about pastors. You don't say nothing about your leadership. Even if, because they are ordained by God, our parents are ordained by God to bring us into this world and to raise us up. But if we point out in any way, shape, or form that, hey, these things that happened when I was a child, that wasn't okay. And now that I'm an adult, you can't talk to me like that. And wherever you are on your healing journey, if you don't, you can't, or you haven't gotten the strength to really tell them that, or you've tried and they just they can't understand, don't want to understand. At some point, a lot of us are saying, you know what, I can love you from a distance. And maybe the most loving thing that I can do for myself and for you is to not be in relationship with you. Because when we are in relationship, when we are in connection with each other, we're constantly arguing. Who wants to, that's not a healthy relationship where we're constantly in conflict, but there's never a solution. And that the only solution that a lot of parents have is that we're supposed to take it. And whether they realize it or not, a lot of the reasons why they want us to take it is because they took it. Because parenting, for a lot of people, they won't say it like this, but it really has been about not having boundaries. If you think about how you were raised as a child, even the concept of don't shut my door. You don't have boundaries around what you can wear, what you can say, what you can do. And it's always justified on, I know better than you. This is what I'm supposed to do to protect you. You need to listen to me, but don't ask questions, because asking questions amounts to questioning their authority, regardless of whether or not you're asking questions because you want to understand. I said it, you do it. Do as I say, not as I do. Or what my grandfather would say, you don't live in a democracy. This is a dictatorship. That you're not an adult yet. When you become an adult, then you can live in a democracy. But as long as you live in my house under my rules, I dictate what you do and how you do it. And then we wonder why we struggle with boundaries in relationships. Because we were never taught how to have healthy boundaries. What was really funny was my mother for Christmas. I was in a relationship and she bought me the boundaries book and the workbook. And he was grateful, thank you. Her whole intention was, oh yeah, she needs to learn how to have boundaries with this boyfriend because I don't like him. Now realizing, baby, that book isn't specifically about romantic relationships. It's about how to set boundaries with yourself for all of them. So if you want me to have boundaries, that includes you. And when you're on that journey of learning how to set boundaries, the setting of the boundaries is about, okay, well, what happens when that person constantly is disrespecting my boundaries? I said this to them. I said, hey, I don't that this, that, and the other, et cetera, et cetera. However you're communicating with them and letting them know, like, you're crossing the line. I don't appreciate that. We don't. And she consistently crossed the line. And so the consequence of constantly disrespecting my boundaries is no contact, is I remove my energy. That hurts. That's been hurtful to me, but I know it's been hurtful for her. But my favorite definition of boundaries is that boundaries are the distance between which I can love myself and love you simultaneously. And most of us, to some degree or another, were taught to prioritize the well-being of our parents and sacrifice our own. That's honoring and loving our parents. And I shouldn't have to choose between you and myself when it comes to love. When it's real, healthy love, it can and should and does coexist. But if I'm in a place where you, as my parent, are harming me physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and I am coming to you and saying, hey, and letting you know, this is what I need in order for us to remain in connection. Essentially, when we're discussing our boundaries, that's what I'm telling you. This is what I need in order for us to remain in connection. And you choose not to. The boundaries are only as strong as my willingness to follow through with the consequence. And that includes our parents, whether it's the ones that raised us and they didn't birth us, or the ones that birthed us and raised us, or the ones that, regardless of who you call your parents, my grandparents, auntie, godmother, whoever raised you, whoever these adults are, whether it was a village or one person, when you start to love yourself and start to understand what that really means, loving them sometimes means that we cannot be in close relationship. So that concludes my time today. First one down. We are going to be back here live at 5 on all my channels tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday up until the 14th. I won't keep going. I know y'all can count. And yeah, so we're going to keep talking about this or other things. So you can hit the reminder. I'm going to post in my stories the scheduled live for tomorrow, so you can be reminded if you so choose, or watch the replay. And before I go, just a reminder, we have Dear Mama brunch and healing circle for anyone who wants to come or lives in the DMV. It's going to be held in Baltimore City on Saturday, May 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tickets are only $50. This is the first one. It probably will never be $50 again. But this one is going to be $50. You can go to LuzCelenia.com/Dear Mama. If you are watching on Facebook, sorry, I should have got it ready to put it up here. On Facebook and YouTube, it is on the screen for you. It's also the link in my bio for those on Instagram. And it's going to be a small group, so it's only 10 tickets, and several of them have already been purchased. It is now pinned on Instagram. So if you can come and you want to come, buy your ticket, because I know people last minute. So it's like they're going to be here and then they're going to be gone. If you know someone who is struggling, or maybe not struggling, and they just want to be a community with other people who understand how hard it is, even if you've made that decision to be no contact, and you want to have community with those who are on this journey, this healing journey, then come on and share it with your friends. And just so you know, so we're getting brunch, mimosas, all you can drink mimosas. Of course, it's a comfortable place. So if you drink too much, I got you. You ain't got to go. And everybody's getting an ebook. I'm writing an ebook about inner child parenting. So those who come will get it included in their ticket price. If you don't come, it will be for sale on my website after the brunch. You also get a discount if you want to purchase a physical copy of the accompanying journal if you are coming to the brunch. If not, then again, you will be able to buy the accompanying journal as well, which will be a physical journal. The ebook will be sent to you digitally after the brunch, and gifts and a good time, and more importantly, a sacred space for us to heal in community. I love you all. I will see you guys mañana and gals tomorrow. And as always, y'all know what I'm about to say. Be as radiant as the sun. Bye.